The new Bureau project in World of Warships Legends is for the legendary tier Pan European destroyer Gdansk, which is sort of the pinnacle of the new gunboat line. It's got all the same gimmicks, including high explosive shells that pen over 32 millimeters of armor, and of course the trademark radar smokescreen combo. And of course, we have Swirski at the helm. He's got a bit of an overpowered skill that we're going to make use of. It's in his last row of skills. It's got a picture of a fox. It's called Fox Flare. Increases the radar duration to make it match the duration of the smokescreen generator when the ladder time is longer. And of course, it is. So if you pop the radar and then wait for a couple seconds, the radar lasts by default for only 15 seconds. But if you wait a few seconds after you activate it and then activate a smoke screen, it'll increase the radar duration time. So you can probably get it up to about 45 seconds if you do it right. The smoke screen generation time is 20 seconds. So, okay, only 35 seconds if you do it right. But 35 seconds for radar on a destroyer is a little bit insane. We're going to see that here against the Shimakaze. Of course, he's already spotted. We don't need to use the radar yet, but he's quickly approaching that island, and that is going to prompt him to smoke up. So you see we activate the radar, 15 seconds, then we activate the smoke screen a little bit too early. 15 seconds turns into 20 seconds, so all we managed to do is add 5 extra seconds to the radar duration, but it's more than enough to take out the Shimakaze, who is hopelessly beached on that island there, and he is going to go down for our first kill of the game. We also revealed the daring in that little corner right there with the radar, trying to take the blind shot, but we don't actually hit him. We want to get out of this smoke screen as well, just in case there are torpedoes coming for it, and I'm sure there are. Plus, we're completely blind with our DD teammate being in the other smoke screen over there. We get radared by something. Don't quite know what it is. I think it's the enemy Des Moines. And we're going to have to abandon this cap for just a second. The Des Moines and the Daring are both shooting at the friendly DD. Daring gets himself spotted, we'll shoot back at him, but of course we've got a wall of torpedoes coming at us, and we're going to have to dodge. The Gdansk is a Mogador hull, by the way, so it's sort of like a French destroyer, and it gets several benefits from that. It's got a base speed that's pretty quick, although I think this number is going to be influenced by the epic battle flag, because I've got that flying on the thing. But we do enjoy a speed of 44.3 knots. We've also got an engine boost that we've got going now, but this isn't quite like the French engine boosts. It's much more conventional. Only gives you a 5% speed buff, so it's not like you're going to be doing over 50 knots or much in excess of that. But still, it's a fast ship. It's also got 27,820 HP, but that is with William Sims as one of the inspirations. The guns are 139 millimeters, nearly 140. Again, they have over 32 millimeters of pen, so they can do a lot of damage to even more heavily armored ships, cruisers included too, which is quite nice. And of course, we are stuck with only shooting HE. There is no AP on this ship. So the extra penetration helps, but it does kind of suck in some ways that you're never going to be striking citadels with this thing. However, in addition to having great pen, the HE also has great maximum damage, 2,260. So when all of the shells hit that daring over there, they do a lot of damage, nearly 3K, maybe even 4K in some cases. And Daring is no slouch as a gunboat, by the way. You can see how much HP he's taking off of us with his rapidly reloading 113mm guns. We just have more damage. He might have a quicker reload, but his shells don't do nearly as much damage as Gdansk's, and we're able to take him out fairly easily. Of course, we also have torpedoes, which I don't think we'll really be using in this game. They have a 10-kilometer range. They have an 82-knot speed, of course, being pan-European. I think a lot of pan-Europeans have up to 90 knots of speed, but that is if you build them for torpedoes. I don't really think you would build this thing for torps. It's got 10 of the torps, to be fair. The range, of course, 10 kilometers, reload time 115 seconds. Still, though, I don't think you want to build for them. It's really more about the guns in this thing, specifically the guns and the radar smoke screen combo, which is lethal to enemy destroyers. This thing is excellent at taking cap circles. Well, it's excellent at stopping the enemy from taking cap circles, at least. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to secure Charlie. Not with only 8,700 HP left, a Des Moines closing in, and one enemy destroyer last spotted in that direction. We're thinking somebody might enter the cap from that corner over there, which is why we keep looking at it. But in fact, we are going to sail away. Our team on the other side has pushed through the alpha flank. They've essentially cleared that flank, and they're pushing the enemy ships over there back into their own spawn. We've got a battleship going for Bravo. The Charlie cap begins to turn red now. I think that is actually thanks to the enemy destroyer. Initially, I thought it was the Des Moines, so I was shooting in that little corner, thinking maybe the Des Moines had pushed in, given his last known location on the minimap, but that is not the case. So we're going to sail around here to see if we can't get vision on what we think is the Des Moines inside of that cap. It's going to turn out pretty quickly that we're wrong, and the Des Moines is actually going to be coming around the island to the right of the Charlie cap. We should spot him here as he rounds the corner. There he is. Of course, it's a very dangerous ship. It's got radar, think 10-kilometer range, which we are well inside of now. But we have him spotted for the benefit of any of our teammates that might be able to shoot at him. Unfortunately, I don't know that any can, but clearly he can shoot at one of our guys. So we're going to stop right here. We've got some islands around us just in case the Des Moines chooses to radar. Hopefully we can sneak behind one and avoid any shots. But we are going to be launching torpedoes, so maybe they are going to actually come into play during this video. I had forgotten. By the way, this is not where this video is going to end, if you saw by the thumbnail. Don't worry. It's coming. We will be getting a perfectly balanced Kraken before all is said and done. A little bit of a spoiler alert there, but the torpedoes are on the way to the Des Moines. A bit of a risky play, perhaps, because we are well within the radar range, and as soon as he spots those, he's probably going to be prompted to pop that radar. And what do you know? He does spot them. He is able to dodge them as well, going straight toward them. Not the ideal angle for a torpedo launch. And of course, he does activate the radar, which reveals us. But the good thing about Des Moines and about the Gdansk is that we're quite far away from him. Well, relatively, almost 10 kilometers, just inside the radar range. But we're fast, and we are maneuverable, so we should be able to dodge a lot of his salvos. We smoke up, thinking probably his radar has run out, but we mistime it ever so slightly. We're still caught by the radar. We no longer see him, though, and then we go dark. So we were pretty close, but we are able to break line of sight and escape with our lives. Only 5,800 HP left, though, so we can't really directly fight this Des Moines. Although you might have noticed when we were hitting him with our shells, the shells were penetrating for HE damage. That's because of the improved penetration parameters on these HE shells. Again, that's pretty nice versus cruisers, particularly since we cannot hit their citadels with AP. We completely flubbed the last charge of the radar. It does have a 9-kilometer range, which is a little bit insane, but the Des Moines was not within 9 kilometers of us, so we didn't pick him up. A little bit of a mistake, but ultimately it's going to be all right. We've got 4 enemy ships versus 6 of our teammates. We're able to get a couple shots on the Ohio and light a few fires. The fire chance on these guns, by the way, is pretty excellent at 10%. And the reload time with the reload module in the 4th slot is 4.1 seconds. As you can see, though, by the little icon above the torpedo launcher's icon, I've got the epic reload mod, and so we've done nearly 60,000 damage. We're going to proc it twice, and that's going to bring our reload just a little bit below 4 seconds. I think the Katsanis at tier 8, on paper at least, has better DPM than the Gdansk does. But it doesn't seem to matter to me. This thing feels like a pretty fearsome gunboat. And in situations like this, where the Des Moines is low health, of course we're going to take the opportunity to get him off the board and secure a third kill for ourselves. That leaves one last enemy destroyer and 2 battleships. One of the battleships is, of course, sailing to the top right-hand corner of the minimap, so he's essentially not playing the game. The other one is the USS Ohio, somewhere in the center, not yet quite revealed. So this is maybe a little bit of a risk, given the low amount of HP that we have, but we're going to try to sail past this gap to see if we can't spot the Ohio. And we do. Our concealment is not great on this build, by the way. I'm not really spec'd into it. It's 6.1 kilometers by sea, so of course Ohio picks us up. One of his secondaries does tag us and takes off about 600 HP, but we should be okay. We've got torpedoes on the way, predicting a little bit of a turn from the Ohio. Let's see if we were right. Looks like he is going to turn, and he does take some of the torpedoes. Obviously, the damage is not catastrophic for him. These are pan-European destroyers, so they may be fast, they may have a decent range of 10 kilometers, but they only hit for a maximum of 11,200 damage, and that's before you take into account torpedo reduction numbers. So, not a ton of damage against the Ohio, but as we've seen already twice in this video, these guns are very effective against enemy destroyers. Shimakaze, especially one firing AP for reasons inexplicable to me, just no match for the Gdansk. He goes down for our 4th kill of the game, and we're up to 93,000 damage done. You saw there, by the way, some of those salvos doing ridiculous damage. I think we did get a 4K hit on the Shimakaze. That is down to the massive alpha strike on this HE. It's a little bit unusual to see high explosive shells that have such a high alpha strike and high penetration as well. Usually you can't get both together. See the German destroyers, which have really pitiful HE alpha but have excellent pen. Although they do have AP, which is something we don't enjoy here. Ohio has beached himself. He is now reversing. We're trying to aim on the stern to get the rear fire, and we succeed, but he either had his DCP off a cooldown or he's using fight fire with fire. I don't know. We've got a cruiser approaching him, and I was desperately trying to secure the Kraken, thinking somebody was going to take it from me before I could get the kill on the Ohio, but no. There's the Kraken unleashed on the USS Ohio. 5 kills. 110,000 damage done. All that's left alive is the last remaining battleship who fled up to the corner of the map. He seems to have realized his error because he's turning back in, but it's far too little too late. We're about to hit 1,000 points and win this battle. So the Gdansk, it's a bureau project. Of course, you can activate it, I think, for free. It's just going to cost you time to progress all the way through the project and acquire this ship. But I'd say it's certainly worth it. This is an excellent gunboat. It's an excellent counter to destroyers with this smoke radar combo. And, you know, it can do damage to even bigger ships with the guns as well. Plus, it's got these torpedoes. I think it's just really fun to play. It's like what would happen if you took the Mogador, gave it a bit of different kinds of spices and herbs, and made it into a pan-European ship. This is what you would get, apparently, and I'd say it's very good. 3,500 base XP, Kraken Unleashed, and of course we win that match, thanks in large part to how effective this thing is at dealing with enemy destroyers. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.